8 of us dropped into Ashridge. Thousands of infected waited for us. We didn't last long. And now, there's no one left to stop them. From the air, Ashridge looked dead. When we touched down, it hadn't moved. The perimeter had already gone up. Concrete barriers, blinking red beacons, military vehicles lined along the broken highways like vultures circling a corpse. Airspace locked down, bridges blown, whole town under blackout. No news, no warnings, just gone. They told us it was a riot. 8 of us deployed under Reaper 1, riot control specialists. Standard sweep and clear, minimal engagement. They lied. We hit the ground at 02:30 hours in the center of town. Snow up to our knees, but no tire tracks, no footprints, no barking dogs, no humming transformers, just dead houses staring out into the cold. My boots crunched over something soft as we pushed forward. Birthday balloons, half deflated, tangled in the gutter. A sign still hung from a light post overhead. Winter Festival, family fun this Saturday. But there were no families here. No laughter, just the wind and something beneath it. A heavy, low sound you could barely hear, like breathing. If the whole town inhaled at once. Morales and I cleared the first house. Kitchen still set for breakfast. Cereal bowls filled with snow. Chairs knocked over like someone had left mid-bite. The living room was worse. A child's doll face down in a puddle of frozen blood. All the clocks in the house had stopped, every one of them frozen at 3:17 a.m. We found the basement door barred shut with a coat rack jammed through the handle. From the inside, Morales pulled it free. We should have left it closed. The woman crouched in the far corner didn't move when we lit her up with our beams. Her nails were shredded down to the bone, clawing at the cinder block walls. Her lips moved, but no sound came out, just breath frosting in the freezing air. I stepped closer. That's when I heard her whisper, "Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off." She lunged, faster than anything should move after days without food or warmth. Morales fired. She went down, but not for long. Her body twitched, spasmed, jerking like a marionette with broken strings. Then she stood back up. We emptied half our mags into her before she finally stopped moving. The shots echoed across Ashridge like a dinner bell, and the town answered. It wasn't a scream, not a howl. It was footsteps, thousands of them, charging the dark. Sanderson's team radioed in, panicked. They're coming out of the snow, out of the fucking ground. Buried bodies clawing their way up, like worms wriggling toward the sound. We fell back to the center square, moving fast, guns up. I saw them then, masses of them, hurling themselves out of windows, smashing through doors, sprinting on shattered legs. Not human anymore, just movement and hunger, drawn to heat, sound, and light, like moths to a flame. I heard Morales screaming beside me, trying to reload. He never got the chance. We slammed the last reinforced door shut behind us, barricading inside a gutted courthouse. Heavy breathing, bloody hands, empty mags. The infected slammed against the walls like a rising tide. We weren't cleaning up a riot. We weren't saving a town. We were already buried with it. And just before I killed the lights, I caught a glimpse through a cracked window. Something standing apart from the horde. An infected, watching us and smiling. The banging never stopped, not for seconds, not for breath. It hammered through the courthouse walls in waves, bodies flinging themselves against the doors and windows, one after another, until the glass spider-webbed and the hinges groaned. We killed the lights, switched to night vision. The world went green, washed out and twitching. Outside, hundreds of pale shapes flailed in the darkness, their skin raw from the cold, their movements fast and jerky. They didn't scream, they didn't shout, they just scraped and slammed and clawed, filling the air with the wet slap of flesh on steel and wood. We counted heads, 6 of us left. Morales was gone. So was Baker. Sanderson was alive, but bleeding bad, a deep gash across his thigh where one of those things had caught him during the fallback. He sat against the wall, trying to cinch a tourniquet with shaking hands. "They're not human," he whispered. "They're not fucking human." None of us corrected him. The radios were dead. The emergency beacon smashed during the scramble. We were alone, cut off, surrounded, and worse, we were making too much heat. I could see it through the windows. The infected weren't just swarming at random. They clustered where our body warmth leaked through cracks, pooling against the walls like maggots finding a wound. If we stayed, they'd tear the place down. If we moved, they'd follow the heat trail like bloodhounds. "Options?" I asked. Nobody answered for a long time. Then Carter spoke up, voice hoarse. "We go cold." I turned to him. "Say that again?" He stared at me through the flickering NVG static. "We kill the lights, kill the heat, shut down everything, play dead." It was suicide, it was madness, but it was the only plan we had. We worked fast, pulled our jackets off, despite the freezing cold, shut down all remaining electronics, smashed the battery packs, crawled into the deepest interior rooms, away from windows, away from vents. The infected outside howled, not with sound, but with motion, their frantic slamming growing even wilder, more frenzied as the warmth faded. They could feel us dying inside. I curled against the floor, rifle clutched tight, every breath like fire in my lungs. Beside me, Sanderson started to shake, not from the cold, from the fever. Minutes crawled by, then hours. Somewhere in the night, the pounding slowed. The horde shifted, like a school of fish losing interest. Through the cracks in the boarded windows, I saw them turn, twitching, lurching, sprinting toward a new sound deeper in town. Not us. Something else, something louder. We sat in the dark another hour, barely daring to breathe. When we finally unsealed the door, Ashridge had changed again. The streets were clear, but not clean. Bodies littered the snow, half frozen, half chewed, their hands still twitching. And in the distance, over the rooftops, a faint orange glow painted the sky. Something was burning, something big, and we weren't the only ones still alive. As we slipped out into the cold, rifles raised, I heard the first sound that chilled me worse than the screaming mobs. A siren, deep, low, and rising. A second perimeter was going up, not to keep the infected in, to keep us out. Ashridge was quieter now, not safe, never safe. The infected had moved on, but the ones left behind, they still twitched where they lay, frozen into grotesque shapes, faces locked in silent screams. Every step we took, cracked frozen blood underfoot. Every breath hung in the cold like smoke. The deeper into town we went, the worse it got. Burned out cars jammed the streets. Houses sagged under the weight of snow and ash. Signs of last stands everywhere. Barricades made from furniture. Windows spray painted with desperate messages. Help us. Stay quiet. Save the children. But no children answered. No one did. We kept moving, low, fast, silent. Sanderson lagged behind. His face had gone slack, pale. The bandage around his thigh was soaked through, black veins spidering up toward his hips. Every few steps he staggered, and Carter would glance back, the way you look at a man carrying a time bomb. The industrial park was ahead, floodlights burning against the ash-heavy sky. Trucks, soldiers, barricades. Relief flickered in my chest until I saw what they were doing. Body bags, piled 6 high, not just infected, civilians, survivors, anyone who moved. The soldiers weren't rescuing, they were erasing. We ducked into the ruins of a gas station to regroup. Inside was chaos, shelves overturned, blood smeared across the floor. The walls were covered in frantic writing. Normal human panic, no symbols, no cult signs. They're fast. Heat draws them. Don't fire unless you have to. They never stop. And scrawled, huge across the back wall in someone's dying hand, "It spreads." Sanderson collapsed behind the counter, gasping. I dropped beside him, feeling for a pulse. His skin was cold, his eyes unfocused, and under the surface, his muscles were twitching, random, involuntary spasms. Carter cursed under his breath. He's turning. No one had to say it. We'd all seen it before, on other missions, in other towns. Bites kill fast. But before they kill, they change you. Sanderson's mouth opened, not to speak, to scream, a bubbling, raw sound, like something tearing loose inside him. He thrashed, knocking over displays, drawing noise we couldn't afford. Outside in the ruins, the horde heard. We could hear them too, massed somewhere just out of sight, packed so thick their bodies made a low, rumbling sound. a sound that was getting closer, fast. I raised my rifle, hesitated. Sanderson's eyes flicked to me just for a second, clear and pleading. Please. I pulled the trigger. The shot echoed through the empty station like a thunderclap. The horde screamed back. We had seconds, maybe less. We tore out the back door, boots skidding across ice and slush, the cold slicing through our clothes. Behind us, the infected poured into the gas station, not walking, not running, stampeding. A wall of bodies, a tsunami of teeth and claws and blood. We sprinted for the industrial park, gunfire cracking around us. Soldiers manned the perimeter, rifles blazing, not trying to save us, trying to keep us away. We were contaminated. We were liabilities. If we crossed their lines, they'd burn us down too. I stumbled behind a wrecked sedan, gasping for breath. Through the shattered windows, I saw the streets behind us flooded with infected, hundreds, thousands, more than the town should have ever had. They poured from houses, from sewers, from shattered stores and schools, drawn by the sound, the heat, the life. An entire town gone feral. And it was spreading. I saw Carter turn to fire and get swallowed whole. I saw another teammate, maybe Ellis, dragged down under the mob, vanishing under a pile of twitching, gnashing bodies. I forced myself up, forced my legs to move, forced my heart to keep beating. Because if I stopped, even for a second, I'd be next. As I ran, I realized the truth. The quarantine was already broken. The infection wasn't contained. It was spilling outward, into the woods, into the highways, into the night. And nothing was going to stop it now. I don't remember crossing the highway. One minute I was sprinting through ruined streets. The next, I was stumbling across cracked pavement, headlights frozen in wrecked cars, the air filled with the static buzz of failing radios. The infected flooded behind me, a mass of tearing, screaming hunger. Every light, every sound, every heartbeat drew them closer. Ahead, the last line of military barricades loomed. Concrete barriers, sandbag walls, soldiers in black biohazard suits. They were supposed to hold. They were supposed to stop the spread. Instead, they panicked. Gunfire tore the night apart, wild, erratic. I saw one soldier turn his flamethrower on the barricade itself, lighting the entrance ablaze before his own men shot him down. The line collapsed like paper under a flood. The infected swarmed through the breach, dragging soldiers down, setting their suits ablaze with their bare hands. There was no more organization, no more control, only screaming, only teeth, only blood. I cut right, sprinting for a broken drainage ditch on the edge of the highway. Bullets cracked past me. One nicked my side. Didn't matter. Pain was better than slowing down. I dropped into the ditch and crawled, mud and blood mixing under my palms. Behind me, Ashridge was dying. Buildings burning, windows shattering, air splitting with the sounds of a city tearing itself apart. The quarantine had failed. The town was lost, and we were next. I don't know how far I crawled. Maybe a mile, maybe more. The woods swallowed me. Dark, cold, endless. The screams of Ashridge faded behind me, replaced by the rattling breath of trees stripped bare by winter. I collapsed at the base of a fallen oak, hands frozen, chest heaving, alive. For now, through the trees, I could still see the glow of Ashridge burning. And worse, I could see movement. Not one or two infected. Hundreds, thousands, flooding into the forests, spilling onto the highways, heading for the next town, the next city, the next country. Ashridge was just the first. The infection wasn't contained. It never had been. And soon, it wouldn't just be Vermont on fire. It would be everywhere. I pulled my rifle tight against my chest, checked the last magazine. One clip, 30 rounds, against the end of the world. Above me, a jet screamed overhead, too fast, too high to help, probably heading somewhere safe, somewhere still pretending safety existed. They'd bomb Ashridge maybe, scorch the earth, bury the infection in rubble and dust. It wouldn't matter. Not now. The flood was already moving, and no wall, no weapon, no lie was going to stop it. I was there when the world ended, and it didn't end with a bang. It ended with teeth.